So I actually grew up recording on a 4-track recorder. I think it was a Tascam 4x4, and they were really fun. But I mean, they really don't compare to what you have today. I mean, the technology today is just far and away so much better. On the 4 tracks, one of the downsides to them was you only had 4 tracks to record on. So if you recorded, say, vocals, guitar, bass, drums, piano, you're already at 5 tracks and you've only got 4 tracks that you can use. So what you would have to do is, say, record onto 3 tracks and then bounce those or record all of those over to track 4. The problem was that once you bounced them over to track 4 and you recorded back over them, it opened up track 1, 2, and 3 again, but however it was recorded, however it was mixed, whatever the levels were, whatever imperfection was on any of those tracks, or whatever reverb or whatever effects you had on there, I mean, that was it. It better be perfect, because once it was bounced over, there's no going back and fixing anything. And I remember when I first got a version of Cakewalk in the late 90s, I mean, that was a game changer. I had 299 tracks that I could record on. And I mean, it was just, my mind was blown. But I mean, nowadays you have literally infinite tracks. You have as many tracks as you need. And it's rare, honestly, that when you're recording, you're going to use more than 20 or 30 tracks. I mean, even if you count in all the effects buses and things, I don't know that I go past 30, hardly ever. I mean, occasionally I do, but it's really rare. But, that thought that you need to go to the studio nowadays, that's just not the case. I mean, you can absolutely get fantastic quality recordings at home. And, I mean, that should really excite you. I mean, I don't know the last time you went to a studio. I actually went to the studio in the mid 2010s, so probably like 2015, 2016. And I mean, you're talking $200 or $300 an hour, and we're not even talking about mixing or mastering the song. That was just to record. So I mean, you're easily climbing up into the thousands of dollars, if not tens of thousands, to do an entire CD. But you're at least in the thousands to get a song recorded, and I mean, that's just really unreasonable. I know a lot of y'all probably haven't released songs, but you're getting like a tenth of a penny every time you stream a song. So, I mean, you've literally got to have hundreds of thousands of streams just to even start making money. So spending, several $1,000s every time you record a song, you're never going to make that money back. I mean, it would be really, really rare that you're going to make that much money back. But nowadays, you don't have to go to the studio. You can actually just do it at home. And, even the DAWs, the programs that you put on your computer that allow you to record, I mean, I think they say the industry standard is Pro Tools. And I looked into it several years ago, into getting Pro Tools. The problem was, I mean, you're still talking several $100s a month in a subscription to have Pro Tools, and why? I mean, it really doesn't make any sense. Because again, I mean, yes, we record music because, of the love of music, wanting to share and get our music out there. But at the end of the day, you don't want to go throwing money away. And, you pay a subscription to Pro Tools, and to me, I mean, you can hate me if you want, but I just don't think there's a point. I just don't see the point in it. Where, someone turned me on to Reaper about a decade ago. I'm comfortable with the workflow, so it's what I use, but you're able to use Reaper for some time for free, and then it's $60 for a lifetime, and you can keep it forever. But there are free ones out there. I mean, you've got Cakewalk, Ableton, Studio One. I mean, there's a lot of free DAWs where you don't have to pay for them at all. And it's not that one's better than the other. I mean, one is not going to give you better quality than the other. I mean, that's just a misnomer. So there's really, to me, no point in paying for the DAW, especially when there's free ones out there. The workflow's easier. The learning curve isn't as steep as, say, something like on Pro Tools. And, you're able to get your music out there for a lot cheaper, a lot less money. But there are some things you're going to need if you're going to do at-home recording, and some things that you're going to have to understand in order to get that studio quality that you're looking for, because it's not something you can just jump in, record, throw it out there, and it's going to work. It's going to stand up with the other music. That's just not the case. You are going to have to invest a little bit of money and a lot of time. So even if you have that free DAW, you're going to need an interface to go with your computer. Now, depending on what you're going to need, how many tracks you're going to need to be able to record at once. And for most of us at home recording, recorders, we don't need all that many tracks. Now, I have one that'll record 16 tracks at the same time, and I'm not touting any particular brand or product here. That's not my goal. But I mean, even just a little single input interface, or a dual one where you have two inputs, that would be perfectly fine for any home studio. Really, when you start needing multiple, being able to do multiple tracks at the same time, really that would be in the case of you want to capture the band all at one time. So you've got a bunch of people you're needing to capture all at once, or say you needed several microphones. Say, like, if you were doing drums, you want a snare mic and all your toms mic'd, and you want the two overheads, and you want a room mic, and you want a kick drum mic. So you start that mic count starts racking up quickly if you're going to record a drum set live. So in that case, you might need an interface that has more inputs. But for most of us, a single or a double input interface is plenty. And I mean, as long as you don't get like the dirt cheap one, and there probably are some dirt cheap ones that are really good, but you're probably not looking at under $100. I mean, for sure. I know that you can buy them for $30-$40 all day long. They're great. They're going to last you. I mean, maybe the more expensive ones are a little better, but I mean, at the end of the day, as long as there's no hum, no hiss, no noise that you're getting from the interface, I mean, it really doesn't matter which brand you go with. Just, pick one that you like, and play around with it. Just make sure it's sturdy enough where it's going to last you a little while. Studio mic wise, I mean, honestly, you can record a song with just a Shure SM58 or something. If you want a studio mic, a professional condenser mic, then you're gonna go up in money. Now they do sell one that I've used, and I can really only speak to products that I've used personally. But they sell, Audio-Technica has an AT2020, and I think it's around $100. I mean, 90, $100, maybe 110. It's right around that price range. And it's actually a pretty good microphone. Now, it's going to have a little more highs. It's going to sound a little more brittle than your professional studio microphone. And you're going to have to do some work with it once it's recorded. But you are going to want to get the best signal you can into your DAW. You want the best quality that you can going into your computer. But what's more important than that is actually getting the best performance. I would rather have, slightly less in quality and a great performance. I can work with that than, the absolute best possible quality and an average performance. that's going to be harder for me to fix and make sound good. So really playing it correctly, playing it right, having the right energy is probably more important in the long run than having the best quality going in. Now, ideally, you'd love both, but if I had to pick one, I'm going to take the performance over the quality. So, I mean, you can certainly for $100, just get a cheap condenser mic or even a cheap dynamic mic. Of course, at the $100 mark, you're probably talking about a mid-level dynamic mic. So SM58, a PG, I mean, SM57 would work. Any of those microphones, you can certainly do recordings on. A lot of people love tube mics, and I've used them. I love them. I think they sound amazing. And if you go to the studio, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be miking a tube amp when they're capturing, say, the guitar. But honestly, the footboards they have nowadays, for a matter of just a couple $100, they have impulse responses inside of them. In other words, they've got the amp modeling. You can actually go in and pick your own microphone. You can, pick where it is set up in front of the amp. I mean, there's all the effects, all of the setup that you need nowadays as far as recording guitar is actually in these footboards for an amazing price. Now, people, how do you say this? I don't want to dog on a company, but like Line 6 makes an amazing foot pedal, footboard for guitars. The problem is I really don't want to spend thousands of dollars on an effects pedal. Basically, is what that is. And for me, for the average guitar player, you're not going to be able to tell the difference if you're a good mixer, you have good recording. You're not going to be able to tell the difference between the $200 or $300 interface and the couple of $1,000 interface. I know it sounds like I'm picking on Line 6, and that's not my goal here. And if you're a professional guitarist, I mean, the Line 6, that price range, that quality, that's probably the way to go. But for us at-home recording people on a budget, there are cheaper options that are going to suit you just as well. When it comes to these microphones, though, recording vocals, one of the things that you're going to run into when you start mixing these down is that you're going to realize that you've got to compress. You've got to bring up the volume of these microphones, of the vocals a lot, in order to have them, come through on the mix. And any imperfection that, any noise, the air conditioner in the background, the dog's barking, you're cracking your fingers, whatever the case may be, that's going to come through in the mix. So you want to be in a quiet spot. You want to record in the best possible environment you can. You don't want there to be any noise, because if you have to boost the vocals, say 10 dB, well, all of that noise is going to come up with it. So, I mean, my suggestion to you is record, get you a microphone that is as high quality as you can afford, but then, put yourself in a spot in your house that's going to capture the best quality that you can. Make sure, you can't hear the kids in the background or, somebody talking, the birds chirping. It's going to have to be a spot that's somewhat soundproof. And honestly, you can hang blankets on the walls to help with the noise. They sell the soundproof foam that you can put up on the walls. I mean, there's lots of at-home options that we have to sort of, remedy this problem. The biggest problem you're going to come into when it comes to at-home recording, though, is not necessarily what you're putting in, but what you're getting out. because it's not that you, a lot of people can play it and records, and it's fine, but not a lot of people can mix correctly. I mean, I still do this where my mix just sounds terrible when I go back and listen to it later. I mean, the drums were too loud, or the vocals were screaming in my ear, and we're just terrible mixers. And honestly, that just comes with time. It comes with practice. A lot of people don't use reference tracks. Anytime I mix something, and you should do this every time, whenever you're mixing one of your songs, go listen. I mean, like immediately. Have it on your desktop or your laptop, have it on your computer where you can go listen to a professional song, one that you really like, that's in the same ballpark of your song. In other words, in the same genre, maybe has similar instruments. Put it on, listen to it on high quality headphones, see what it sounds like sonically. Really listen to the little nuances in the song, and then try to match your song to that. So listen to how loud that snare drum is, how loud the kick is, where things are placed, how much room it sounds like these instruments have, or where the vocal is sitting in the song and how loud it is. I mean, listen to the reference track, listen to a professionally done track, and then try to make yours sound like that, at least as far as levels and tone, because a lot of times we'll mix things way too dark or way too bright. And that's mainly because we're not listening to the reference track. So it's always a good idea to have, one or two or half a dozen reference tracks that you can listen to. Things that stand up, that are professionally done, stand out with the rest of the music in the world, and listen to those when you're recording, which obviously leads to probably one of the most important things that you're going to need when you're recording at home, and that's a set of headphones. If you don't have a good set of headphones, it's not really going to matter how well you record, how well you mix, because if you can't hear it right, then you're not going to mix it right. Your little computer speakers, they're not going to cut it. Now, that being said, when it comes to headphones, there's actually two different types. And if you're going to be mixing at home, you should probably have both. You should have a decent set of closed back headphones. That's the normal headphones that we think of. And then you should probably have an open back set of headphones. And these are a little bit harder to come by. They're a little bit more expensive. To me, it's a little harder to find a good pair that sounds good. The difference between the open back and the closed back is exactly what it sounds like. In the closed back, all the sound is staying inside of the headphones. So, if you walk by somebody and they've got headphones on and you can't hear the music, those are closed backs. In the open backs, it's not, it's open. In other words, it's allowing some sound to escape. And the idea with the open back headphones is it's going to give you a truer picture of what this music actually sounds like, because it's allowing some of that bass and some of those mids and some of those highs to escape out of the headphones. So for example, one of the things that I tend to notice with the closed back headphones is it sounds really boomy. I'm able to hear a ton of bass, mainly because it's getting trapped inside the headphones and it's sort of just reverberating into my ears. In the open back headphones, that the bass and the kick aren't getting trapped inside, in between the headphones and my ears. A lot of that's able to escape, and I'm able to hear it clearer. So you're either gonna need two sets of headphones if you're gonna kind of purely mix on headphones, or you're going to have to get some speakers, and you're going to have to listen on these speakers. Just having a good set of monitors to listen to when you're mixing, when you're mastering, that's not going to do you much good if you don't know what they actually sound like or what they sound like when other songs are played through them. So if you're going to get some monitors, take several hours, several days, several weeks, and constantly listen to music in those monitors. That way, you're going to know what music sounds like on those monitors. So every set of speakers is going to sound different. So a lot of times, because I wear earbuds all the time, like at work or when I'm in town, or I'm used to the way my earbuds sound. I know what music sounds like on my earbuds. So a lot of times when I'm mixing a song, I'll check them in my earbuds because I know what it's supposed to sound like in my earbuds, and I know how loud the bass is supposed to be and how loud the vocals and the guitar. So it's easy for me to see what's wrong with a mix by listening in my earbuds. So, but listen across many platforms. Get you a set of headphones, get you some monitors, have you some earbuds. Listen in the car. There's always the car test because that's where we listen to a lot of music, is in the car. So that when we go listen to our song in the car, we're going to know, oh, this sounds great or it sounds terrible. And this all comes back to mixing, because you've got to get the tone right. You've got to get the volume right. First and foremost, you got to get the volume right. You got to get everything to sit together. After that, you work on kind of separating it, getting the mud out and making things clearer so that they stand out and they're not fighting for the same sonic space. And, that's really hard to do. That takes a lot of practice. That's why a lot of people would rather pay the studio. But if you're on a budget and you need to be able to do it at home, you want to put out a bunch of songs and you don't feel like paying that price, then you're going to have to do the legwork and you're going to have to learn how to mix correctly. And that's really hard to do. I'm going to be honest, because you're going to go through the process, like we all do, of listening to endless tutorials, trying out a bunch of stuff, it not working. You're going to find a few nuggets here and there. You're going to run across somebody and you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to try that. And you're going to go try it and it's going to work. And so that's going to be one piece that you keep. But for every one piece that you keep, you're going to try 12 things that don't work or that make your mix sound worse. So it's going to be, there's going to be a learning curve to it, and it's going to be a lot of frustration. But that's instead of paying some engineer to do the work, paying somebody to mix it and master it yourself, if you're wanting to save that money, you're going to spend that money in learning a skill, because these people have spent those years learning how to mix and master it. And instead of paying them, what you're essentially doing is saying, no, I'm going to pay myself to learn it. Instead of paying that money out, I'm going to keep it, but now I'm going to have to learn how to do it. And you're going to have several bad mixes. I listen to some of my music that's out and I'm like, God, I wish I need to take that down because it's just freaking terrible. No, I don't. I leave it up there because, it's a reminder to me to always make sure the song is as good as it possibly can be before I release it. And if I pull it down, I don't know. I know that's silly, but to me, leaving it up there is that reminder, Dave, don't be too hasty in releasing the songs. Make sure they sound good. Make sure they stand up with the other songs. Take your time. I used to be the guy that would not record with a metronome, with a click track. I was that guy because I thought I'm a drummer. I grew up playing music. I grew up playing drums all the way through school. And I know I can keep tempo. I can keep a beat. No, you can't. No, you can't. You just can't. You end up speeding it up or slowing it down, playing it at the wrong tempo. I'm telling you, record with a click track. The other reason why I say that, besides speeding the song up and slowing it down, it's going to be so much easier to edit if everything is lined up to the grid in your DAW. And if you don't record to that click track, you're going to be guessing where that downbeat is. So if you made a mistake in one section, you can't just copy and paste the good performance over on the other section because it's not going to line up in time. Or if you're wanting to, you realize, hey, this song's too long or it's too short, there's no adding to it. There's no taking away. But if you record it with the click track, you can do that. I'm telling you, as the guy who for 20 years spent saying, no, I don't need a click track, I can record in time, I'm telling you, save yourself the trouble. Learn to play with the click track. It's going to make life so much easier. All right, off the soapbox, I'm telling you, people come to me all the time and they want to record, and they don't want to record with a click track, and it makes my job mixing their song almost impossible, because inevitably we're going to make mistakes in the performance, and we're going to think, oh, I can live with that, and then they come back to me later and like, hey, can you fix this one section? And I can't, because it's at a different tempo than the first, when you played it during the first verse, and I can't just copy that over. It sounds terrible, and now I've got to do time stretching and or go in there and try to do all these little micro corrections, and I'm not going to do it. It takes forever. And it's just never going to sound good as if you were to just played it with a click track to start with. So I know I told you I was going to get off the soapbox, but learn to play with the click track. Learn to play with the metronome. There's a reason why it's on there. That's a super important aspect of recording. I mean, after that, it's mixing, and yes, there are tons of plugins that you can use nowadays. I mean, you don't need all the effects and all the reverbs and the delays and the external compressors. You don't need all that stuff nowadays. It's all in the DAW. And you don't actually need to buy a whole bunch of expensive stuff. Now, I mean, I have some stuff that, that I have paid for that, to me, I can't really live without. Like I said, not sponsored by anybody, but like Isotope's Ozone for mastering, absolutely love it. Now, you can do it without it, and you can get great results. But to be able to just throw it in there, it listens to it, and it gives me a starting point already. And then I'm able to just go in there and tweak it. I love it. Now, it's kind of expensive, but I've tried mastering without it. And once I got it, once I, tried the program, they have this free trials. You can try it for like 10 or 14 days or whatever it is. So what I did, because once again, I'm always on a budget, I waited till I got several songs recorded and I was ready to master them. So I'd already, mixed them as best I could, and I was ready to master them. And then I went and got the demo of the program just to see, is this something that I want to buy? And it really did make a huge difference. Because if you can't master correctly, it's not really going to matter. I mean, you can have an amazing performance, amazing tracks, amazing mixes, but if you don't master it, it's not going to stand up with the other songs. So mastering is basically just bringing up the levels to everything, sort of maxing it out without, making it as loud as possible, as clear as possible, without, clipping it and distorting it. So you're going to need your song mastered. You're just going to. And again, it's a different process than mixing. It's more subtle. You're making more subtle changes than a lot of times you do when you're mixing. But again, this is one of those things you're going to have to learn to do if you're going to release songs yourself. Do it in the home studio and save yourself some money. You're going to have to take the time and the energy and the effort to learn how to master. But programs like, Ozone, they can help you in doing that. I think we're probably moving towards the days where AI is going to mix and master all the songs for us. I'm actually, as someone who records at home, now I love mixing and mastering. I actually really enjoy it. But it's also going to be nice to me to be able to throw it into AI and at least have AI check it and make suggestions. Not that I'm still not going to do a bulk of the work, even if AI can do all of it. I'm still going to do some of it. because I want that human element. I don't actually want everything to be perfect in the song. I want it to have a little bit of imperfection because to me that adds that human element. I mean, that's just me personally. But you don't have to go to the studio nowadays. You don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars. You can make studio quality stuff at home, on a budget. The better the microphone you get, generally, the better the sound you're going to get. Like we talked about the AT2020 earlier, and that's going to give you like the kind of a brittle sound. You're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to do some EQ and some compression. You're going to have to do some work inside of your DAW to kind of fix that vocal. Where, if you go with a higher end microphone, you're going to have to do less work. But I don't think there's a microphone out there. I mean, even if you get like the Newman, there's not a microphone out there that's just ready to go right out of the box. You're always going to have to do a little bit of work. But the more expensive the microphone you get, the less work you're going to have to do. And I think that's kind of the goal when you're upgrading is, not that I want a better sound, but I want a better sound into the DAW. I want just the recording to be a better quality, and I don't have to do as much work to it. But you can fix the vocals and the guitar and the bass with, more inexpensive equipment. But it's gonna, like I said, the more inexpensive equipment you use, the more you're gonna have to spend time kind of fixing these things. But it can be done. So I'm not saying go run out and buy the most expensive equipment. But if you're planning on recording, if you're planning on doing this stuff at home, you're gonna want the best quality that you can get within your budget. Because remember, if you go to the studio, you're gonna spend I don't know, say $1,000 a song. But if you're going to do it at home and save that $1,000, you're going to have to invest that $1,000 into something. And that's going to come from the equipment you buy, the microphone, the footboards, whatever plugins, effects that you want, your interface, the time and energy, effort learning. You're going to have to pay yourself to learn this stuff and how to do it correctly. But once you learn it and once you have the equipment, you don't have to spend that money anymore. Yes, you can upgrade, but I mean, you're not going to spend $1,000 on a song anymore. You can record a song anytime you want. Have that radio quality, that great sounding song that stands up with all the other songs. And the more songs you're going to release, obviously, the less it's going to cost you. Now, if you're just going to do one song and that's it, go to the studio and get it done. Unless you just want to play around with it at home because you enjoy it. But if you're going to record 10, 20, 30 songs, if this is something you want to do, then go ahead and spend a little bit of money. Stay within your budget. Don't go overboard because you can do it with cheap equipment. You really can. And you can always upgrade later. So you don't have to spend a ton of money. And it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to record at home and to actually hear yourself. I mean, and you release it and you hear yourself on, Apple and Spotify and Pandora and YouTube. It is kind of neat, but make sure that, it's the right quality. Spend the time, spend the energy, spend the effort, learn how to do it properly, or record it at home and then send it to have it mixed and mastered. And you can do that for, say, $200 a song. You can have it professionally mixed and mastered. Instead of, the $1,000 it was going to take you to record it as well, to rent the studio time and all of that. So that's another option, and there are people online who are fantastic at mixing and mastering. And so definitely an option, but you are going to have to invest a little bit of money and a whole lot of time. But in the end, I really think it's worth it. I thank you guys for joining me today. If you've got suggestions, tech that we need to check out, microphones, foot pedals, recording software, let us know. Reach out to us. We want to be able to share these things as a community and try these things out. So if you've got suggestions on tech that you think we should hear, mixing and mastering techniques that we should hear, guitar playing techniques, anything to do with music, that's what we're here to talk about. And y'all have a good one.